Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another edition of Crush Lusher Television. All right, we are going to do some corrections on our quiz. So what you're going to do is you're going to check out this video, and then you're going to write down everything you did right and everything you did wrong, and then we're going to do some corrections at the end, and that's what we're going to hand in at the end for a grade. All right, so here's the first question. So look at your quiz right now, and then go over this with me. If you got it wrong, then write it along with me, okay? So we have let f of x equals 2x squared minus 6x plus 4. I know that's a parabola, so that's probably this bottom part here. So that's the parabola. And g of x equals 4 cosine 1/4 pi x. So cosine starts up here, and then it goes down, and then it just keeps going like that. So that would mean the top part would be the cosine, the g of x equation. Let R be the region bounded by the graph. So R is in there. Okay, so A, find the area of R. So this one, you actually have to find the area, and there's no calculator involved, and so we're going to find the actual area. And so this is worth 4 points. So if you want to see all the points, I'll show them to you. So the first part is worth 4 points, the next part is worth 3 points, and the last part is worth 2 points. So the first part is pretty important. Okay, so let's do it. Doot! All right, so f of x, like I said before, is the bottom part because that's the parabola, and g of x starts here and goes down since it is a cosine curve. So the area is going to be the integral between 0 and 2, it gives us that, of g of x minus f of x dx. So top g of x, bottom f of x. And so a lot of people got that far, and a lot of people put this in the calculator, but now here's the hardest part. So this is where you have to find the antiderivative. You have to keep going. So this equals the integral between 0 and 2 of 4 cosine of, I'm going to put this as pi over 4 x minus, parentheses, the bottom, which is the parabola, minus 2x squared minus 6x plus 4 dx. So top area minus the bottom area. All right, so this is the same thing. If you wrote this, you got 1 point. Now we have to find the antiderivative of this. So this is a chain rule one. We have to undo the chain rule. So if you remember, what happens is you take the derivative of the inside, which is pi over 4x. So if it's at 2x, the derivative would be 2. If it's at 4x, the derivative would be 4. If it says pi over 4x, the derivative is pi over 4. So I'm going to divide by pi over 4. Then I'm going to find the antiderivative of the outside. The antiderivative of cosine is sine. So that's going to be 4 divided by that, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, 4 over pi. So now we have the antiderivative of cosine is sine, keep the inside, boom. So this is the antiderivative. It's going to be 16 over pi eventually. 16 over pi sine of pi over 4x minus, add 1 here. This is going to be 3, and then divide by that. So it's going to be 2x to the third divided by 3 minus, add 1 here, so it's going to be 2. 2 divided by negative 6 is negative 3x squared. Because when you multiply this, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x plus 4x. Boom. And you're plugging in 0 and 2. And this is 2 points for the antiderivative. Cool. So now we're going to plug in some stuff. So I'm going to write over here so I got more room. So equals, so it's going to be 16 over pi sine of, so we're going to plug in 2 first. So 2 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4 is the same as pi over 2, minus, plugging in 2 here, so this is going to be 2 times 2 to the third over 3, minus 3 times 2 squared plus 4 times 2. Bam. So this is all going to be in brackets. So now I'm going to subtract, now I'm going to plug in 0 to all this. So it's going to be 16 over pi times, sorry, not cosine, I mean sine. Sine of 0, 0 times pi over 4 is 0, minus, this is 0 minus 0 plus 0, so it's just minus 0. So this is all 0 right there. Because you plug in 0, all that stuff is 0. All right, cool. Let's keep simplifying. Actually, if you just put this right here, you get it right. So when you're on the free response part of the AP, this is correct. You can leave it like this. It was a free response. But let's simplify just a little bit more, shall we? So sine of pi over 2 is up here. So that point is 0, 1, and sine is the y. So sine is 1. So this is 1. So it's 16 over pi times 1 minus, this is 8. 2 to the third is 8. 8 times 2 is 16 minus 16 over 3 minus 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 8. Cool. And we can leave it like that. That's cool. Leave it like that. You can simplify if you want to. The final answer would be what it really wants is, let's see it. So that's what we just had right there. 16 over pi minus 4 over 3. So either one of these is acceptable, so that's 1 point for the answer and 2 points for that antiderivative. Cool. All right, now let's keep it going. So this next one is going to be worth 3 points. 2 points for the integrand and 1 point for the limits and the constant. All right, so let's check it out. So B, volume when R is rotated around y equals 4. Okay, so let's get our picture here. And then you got this, like this. So this is 2, this is 4. So y equals 4, look like this. Okay? So that means that we got to draw a mirror image kind of thing like that. And then you're going to rotate this way. No. So you have a little donut-y-o, when you have an infinite amount of those like that. So one slice is going to be like this. So this is dx. And so this radius, this is the original down here. So I'm going to start here. So this big radius is going to be 4 minus this curve, minus the parabola. So it's 4 minus f of x. F of x is the parabola. And then the little r we're cutting out is 4 minus this part here, which is the cosine. So little r is going to be 4 minus g of x. So you can write it like this if you want. So it's going to be the integral between 0 and 2, because there's an infinite amount of small little slices between 0 and 2, of pi r squared, the big R. So that's 4 minus f of x. So we can just write this, 2x squared minus 6x plus 4 squared pi r squared minus pi small radius squared, 4 minus, and that would be the cosine one, 4 cosine pi over 4 x squared dx. And that is the answer for part B. Got it. So 2 points for the integrand and 1 point for the constant, which is pi, and the upper and lower limits 0 and 2. Cool. All right, keep it going. Last but not least. So now I want cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis that are squares. That's part C. Okay. So perpendicular to the x-axis. So that would mean if it goes like this and then like this, perpendicular to the x-axis would be this. And so that's not in terms of y, that's in terms of x. So squares, this is going to be dx, and this is going to be top minus bottom here. This is going to be top minus bottom. And so that is going to be, the volume is going to be the integral between 0 and 2 of length times width times height. So that's top minus bottom squared. So top minus bottom we already got, which is the 4 cosine pi over 4 x minus 2x to the third minus 6x plus 4, top minus bottom, all squared dx. Got it. So this times this is squared times dx, and then that is one slice, And then this integral says all of the slices between here and here. You got all those squares sticking up like that. Cool. Put a check if you got it. If not, write it down. Next one. All right, keep it going. All right, where are we at? Oh, I'm gonna have to do this with another video because I'm not gonna have time. Here's part 1 done. Part 2 coming at ya. Good work, everybody.